Hey everyone, welcome back to Unboxing the Underground. Coming at you with a little bit of a different video today. There'll be a little mini unboxing at the end of this, but today I'm going to take you through sort of like an extreme cinema tour, some of the more extreme films in my collection. I won't go through every single one of them because it would be a 3-hour video, but I'm going to take you through some of the rarer, more extreme, provocative, and disturbing titles in my collection. Some stuff that's out of print, some stuff that's really hard to find, things that are rare, things that are, there's only 20 copies out there. So I'll take you through a few of those, maybe we'll say like 7 to 10 titles, and then I'll end it with a little mini unboxing from the most recent Criterion sale. I got one film, an extreme film, but one film, mini unboxing at the very end of this, so stay tuned. We'll start out with one of the more divisive films even within the extreme underground world. There are people who really, really, really hate this film. It is The Bunny Game. And there we go. This is by Adam Reheimer, who recently did Dinner in America, which is a much more mainstream title, produced by Ben Stiller. Like, he's gone on to mainstream success, but this was sort of his kind of dip into the water of extreme cinema. And this is a really, really twisted, uncomfortable film in which a prostitute basically gets picked up by a trucker, and then she is kidnapped and forced to stay in the desert for like a few days, and all of the stuff in this film is real. All of like the torture is real. The only thing they've said is not real is like the drug use. But this is a really hard to find film. I paid close to $100 for this a few years back. This is by Autonomy Pictures. I don't believe this will ever be reprinted in the US. I highly doubt it. The director himself seems to not want to talk about it nowadays. He's done a lot of mainstream films since then. And this gets brought up a lot in interviews, and he talks about it, but like rarely. It's a very powerful lead performance by Rodleen Getzik. There she is. And this is worth grappling with, even if you absolutely detest it. It is artfully done. It's basically an assault on your senses. And I don't recommend this film to a lot of people, but if you are in the know and this is something that you've been interested in, and this is the sort of cinema that provokes you, check it out. Next up, this is this really doesn't need a lot of introduction, but this is the August Underground trilogy. This was released by Toe Tag Pictures themselves, Fred Vogel's company. This has all 3 films and nothing else on it, but you get the original August Underground's Mortem, and Penance, and you can also watch these all as one whole saga if you're brave. These got re-released recently by Unearthed Films in a much better video transfer and with all sorts of goodies and extras and commentaries. I have not picked those up, but at the time I got this from Grindhouse Video, I think in 2020, for like $60. It sold out immediately. This is numbered, if I can get this in focus for you. This is numbered 1,000. 687, I believe, out of 1,000. And yeah, this is a really cool piece of toe tag history. These films don't need a lot of introduction, but they're faux snuff films. Serial killer played by Fred Vogel, and Christy Wiles, I believe her name is, film their exploits of torturing and killing people. And the effects are incredible. There are people who also hate these films, but as an effect showcase, and as a kind of wallow in viscera, you really, really could check these out and maybe get something from them if like true crime interests you at all. And Fred Vogel's such a great part of like the extreme cinema community and the effects community. These are really cool, and I have not picked up the Unearthed Films ones, but if you're interested in these, you can get them, I think, on Amazon now, which is crazy. For a long time, these were very hard to find and heavily sought after. And this was from that kind of era. This used to go for about $100 on eBay. You can get it for cheaper now. Again, they're more readily available. But these are really cool films. Next up, of course, is another one that doesn't need much introduction if you're in this world, but Martyrs, which is a really incredible screenplay. I won't get into the whole plot. I don't want to ruin anything, but this had a horrible American remake, but this is the original French extreme film. There really is nothing else like it. This also had a re-release, I believe, by several different companies. Umbrella Entertainment, perhaps. I'm not quite sure what the label was that put this out again, but this is available more and more. I encourage people who don't even really like extreme cinema to watch this film. It is such an intelligent script. It is such a brilliant, open-ended ending, and there's nothing else like this. People who don't like extreme cinema could watch this and be very disturbed, but also get something from it. It's not just gratuitous or unnecessary. There's a really provocative question about many things going on in here. So check this one out. Next up, I've got the Jonathan Doe series of the erotic grotesque, sorry about the focus, the erotic grotesque nonsense trilogy, which is basically his homage to all sorts of different films from the underground world. This was his first one, starring Felicia Fisher. I got these are Blu-rays actually, and they're not available from future productions themselves on Blu-ray. They're only available on DVD. I got these Blu-rays from a really amazing company called not Unearth Films, from a really amazing company called Dead Format Films. They're in the UK, run by a guy who goes under a pseudonym called Mr. Horse, and he's really, really cool. He has a lot of really hard to find stuff, things that are really fringe titles. Some stuff that, existed once won't ever be reprinted. Some stuff that is from the underground world that only had DVD releases that now have Blu-rays. And I got all of these from him over the years. This is the Degenerates, and a very not safe for work cover. Sorry about the autofocus, everybody. And these are really cool. These also do contain some bonus features, some making ofs. Really, really, really great packaging. Again, all by an independent production company. I believe it's just 1 or 2 people. These are worth checking out. This is a faux snuff film. This one is sort of like an homage to Terrible Meal, so you can imagine what that is. And then finally, there is Defilement of a Porcelain Doll. This is the 3rd entry in the series of erotic grotesque nonsense. Really beautiful packaging. I mean, honestly, I can't recommend them enough. You can find them through Facebook, Dead Format Films. I don't believe they have a store online, but these are really extreme, very, very unique titles that tread lightly. If you don't know what they are, I wouldn't recommend them if you're not already kind of aware of what Jonathan Doe's filmography is like. Very talented individual, but makes a very specific film for a very specific audience. So if you're into them, definitely seek them out any way that you can. I believe they're available digitally now as well. They just made that announcement on their site that you can rent these digitally now, which is great. So they're becoming more and more available. The 4th entry will be out soon, from what I understand. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, so next up, we've got a couple of the notorious Marion Dora titles. This is Melancholy Der Angel, from PCM, which is basically Diabolic DVD, has their own label, and if I can get the spine to focus, I don't think I can. But anyway, these are, oh, and then also there is Carcinoma, which is another title of Marion Dora. Very mysterious, very hated and lauded filmmaker who kind of marches to his own beat. Some of his films are of epic length. I mean, I think Melancholy Der Angel is damn near 3 hours. Yeah, close to 3 hours. And they all kind of have these really disgusting sequences and imagery that's very, very disturbing to a lot of people. But these are titles that are increasingly really hard to find in like the Western market. You can't really just pick these up on Amazon or even eBay. They're harder and harder to find. PCM also put out Cannibal, which had an Unearthed Film DVD release back in like 2009 or something like that. I did not pick it up. I was going to, and I missed out. I believe it's sold out now. But that was their 3rd kind of. This is basically the American label that's putting out these films. Marion Dora is very reclusive and mysterious. There's not much known about him, but there is a documentary on here called Revisiting Melancholy Der Angel, which is worth your time. If you have the means to obtain this disc, I recommend watching that because it does kind of give you a sense of what was kind of going on that set and why this film was made at all. But these are both really interesting films that I'm happy to have in my collection as an extreme cinema enthusiast. So a couple of other dead format titles. This one is a really interesting title. I don't like it very much, but this is called Pig, by director Adam Mason, who, sorry about the focus, who has gone on to other successes, like I think Michael Bay produced one of his films. This film is not the Nicolas Cage film that came out in 2019, 2018, and it's not the Nico B film. I believe Nico B directed a film called Pig way back when. This is from 2010. It premiered at South by Southwest that year. Many years later, it also had final screenings at South by Southwest. I was at that festival when it played. I did not see the film, but this director is kind of fast and loose about the availability of this film. He sort of, whenever it comes up in interviews, he sort of says, like, I didn't want to make it. I don't know where the hard drive is. It's lost. And it, sure enough, I mean, this is a legitimately almost impossible to find film. The copy on this Blu-ray is, again, it's from dead format film, sorry. This was, I believe, like a rip from, I believe, Bloody Disgusting streamed the film once for 24 hours, like 6 or 7 years ago, and it's just gone. It's not available anywhere. It's basically like a kidnapping, Rob Zombie-esque, one-take horror thriller that sort of assaults you with really shaky camera work, like sun-drenched visuals. It's not a pleasant film to sit through. It's also, in my honest opinion, not very good. I blind bought this because I was just intrigued by the exclusivity of it. I'm happy to own it, but because it really is like a grail if you care about these sorts of films. But it's really not worth any fuss. I'm not surprised no one has stepped up to release this properly. I just don't think it's great. But what is great is on this disc is also a copy of The Green Elephant, which is this really extreme shot-on-video Russian film about prisoners in a jail cell, and they slowly deteriorate mentally and lose their mind, and all of these really horrible things happen by the end of it that are not simulated. But it's also a great critique of criminals and war crimes and how we treat prisoners. It's a very intelligent film, and that's on here, so in that regard, I'm happy to own this disc. But I believe this is long out of print. Copies rarely show up. You can maybe find a copy on Underworld Sabrosa, but it's not easy to get your hands on. But cool enough to have as a talking piece. Then this is also a dead format release, 13 Ghost Stories. I'm so sorry about the focus, everybody. This is also known as the JSKD series, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's what it's called. These are like body modification films from Japan, where there's people sewing their hands together, and it's just, I've watched these once, and that's probably enough. This did get a new release recently, I believe by Poison Ivy Communications on Instagram. Really like remastered, went into the original files, and these are insanely difficult to find in the States. I don't really think they ever had a release ever here, and probably never will. These are really gnarly. I don't recommend these very easily to anybody. But again, they're truly something to behold, and if you are into this sort of thing, that is, you could do worse than these. But, there's 3 of these. 1 is probably enough to get the idea. They're very haunting, very evocative, but I couldn't tell you exactly what's going on beyond the body horror that is all unsimulated and real. So, final few here. This is one that I have mixed feelings on. It's incredibly well made, and very a very angry horror film that the director himself would say is very much a giant middle finger to the man. This is Subconscious Cruelty, directed by Karim Hussein, who is now a very successful director of photography in his own right. He's shot, I think he did like Infinity Pool and all of the Brandon Cronenberg stuff. Very talented guy. The visuals here are no exception. This is a brilliantly shot effectively a student film, with really crazy imagery, like, that sort of kind of wallows in like atrocity and just really nasty stuff. And it's basically just a series of short vignettes that just have this really horrible imagery. And I recently rewatched it. I don't know if this has a release in the States. I don't think it does. There may have been a DVD at one point of this available, but I got this from Underworld Sabrosa. I believe this is region free, but not the easiest film in the world to find. Very, very extreme. If you're into artful, non-narrative, non-linear filmmaking, this is something very interesting, made by a very pissed off, I think the guy was like 21 when he made this. So check out Subconscious Cruelty. I don't know if you can stream this, but if you get a chance to get a physical copy, support the director. This is a bootleg from Sloppy Second Sales, and they're pretty well known. They put out stuff that just isn't available on physical media. And it either was at one point and isn't anymore, or will be available at some point. But this is the Guinea Pig Collection. Now, these films are very infamous because their effects were so real. Like, all sorts of people got involved, like, sort of a la Cannibal Holocaust, and authorities thought that they really killed the actors, and these are really interesting films. Unearthed Films did have a box set that is long out of print, goes for hundreds of dollars, and this is all of the films together. It's a chance to see them all together in their totality, so I'm really happy to have those. Those are really awesome films. If you can get your hands on a copy of the original box set, I mean, like, support Unearthed Films, obviously, but this was the only way I could find them at any given time. I think each individual disc, if you bought them separately, goes for about $50. But yeah, on this set, you got Devil's Experiment, Flower of Flesh and Blood, He Never Dies, Devil Woman Doctor, Android of Notre Dame, and Mermaid in a Manhole, which is probably one of the more infamous ones on here. Really crazy films. Check these out. And then finally, I did not realize this was worth a pretty penny if you're in the market for a physical copy of this, but this is Grotesque, put out, I believe, by Tokyo Shock, which is or was a Blu-ray label. This is just a really gnarly torture film. I believe you can watch it on Tubi. Like, it is available in the States, but long gone are the physical copies. I picked this up on a whim, not having seen it, and it's really insane. Like, there's really not much pretense of a plot. It's a couple get kidnapped by this insane surgeon doctor, kind of almost like Human Centipede, and spends the film, debasing them and torturing them, and I've only seen it once. I did not realize that was a very expensive item. I'll probably hang on to it, but it just keeps going up in value. Somebody could re-release it someday. It wouldn't shock me. It does have a small following, but pretty well made, interesting enough film. Alright, and finally we will end this video with a small unboxing from the Criterion Collection. Now, Criterion Collection is not underground, really at all. Everything that they have ever put out is very much above ground. But this was something I've been wanting to get for a while. I have not seen this film, and this, for my money, and if someone feels differently, please tell me in the comments, probably is one of the top 3 controversial films that Criterion has ever put out, and I don't think this will ever see a Blu-ray release or any sort of upgrade, as much as I would love to see them do a 4K or something like that. I just don't see them ever really acknowledging at this point that they even own this film. And this is the one and only Sweet Movie. Kind of a companion piece to Sallow. And as you can see on the front, if it'll focus, this is the provocative art house shocker. This is from 1974 by Dusan Makovejic. I'm sure I butchered that name, sorry. But this is basically just like a phantasmagoria of insanity of 70s filmmaking. I've heard a lot about this film. Really excited to check it out. The fact that Criterion was bold enough, at least at the time, to put this out. I don't think they would put this out today, and that's why I wanted to get my hands on it. Because I do think eventually this will go out of print. I could be wrong. It's been in print for quite some time, but I don't think they will ever upgrade this, because from what I understand, some of the things in this film are deeply upsetting. But, it made its way to the collection, and I'm happy to check it out. And I got this pretty much for free. I had a gift card from many, many years back, and it still worked, so I grabbed this one. Anyway, thank you all for watching. That was a mini unboxing with a slight extreme cinema tour of the bookshelf. Again, that wasn't everything. I have plenty of extra stuff that I'm sure we'll talk about in other videos, but just to give you a little bit of a taste of the sort of things I have. Coming up later in the next few months, we'll have more interviews, mini documentaries, unboxings, and if you like the video, like it, share, subscribe, tell everybody about it, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one.